There are a lot of straight people appropriating gay culture right now by identifying as non-binary or by identifying as bisexual because maybe they did kiss a girl in the 9th grade, but since then have done nothing to update their certification in the LGBT community. Just one time you had a moment or a funny feeling, and now for the rest of your life you identify as part of the LGBT community, but only because it allows you to check another box on diversity. It allows you to compete in a different category of the Oppression Olympics.
I really do resonate with non-binary.
Girl, I resonated with non-binary too, to tell you the truth. You know what? I usually don't make fun of the way people talk or when people mispronounce particular words, but on this one, there is a little bit of the telling for me on that particular mispronunciation. Resonate. Resignate is a recently formed or informal verb meaning to force someone to resign from a position, effectively creating the situation of resignation without the person's full voluntary intent. And that describes why I bowed out of the LGBT community, because when non-binary came along, I was like, no, we're not doing that. I don't even buy that as a thing. It's not real. I'm not pretending it's real. Everybody's natural state is non-binary, but we're going to get into that a little bit more in a second here, because obviously what she meant was she resonates with non-binary. For anybody that isn't familiar with who this person is, I guess how you know her depends on which generation you're from. Like for my generation, she is Tiffany, aka New York Pollard from Flavor of Love.
Yo, New York!
Hi, baby! In comes this bitch, New York from last season.
I'm so sorry that an ugly ass like this would even say that.
I'm gonna definitely fight to the death. I will claw my way to his heart.
And anybody that competed in any way for Flavor Flav's affection is not at all to be taken seriously in my book. But we're going to get into that a little bit more in a second here. Let's let Tiffany Pollard continue to talk, aka New York, for anybody that isn't familiar with who this person is. And the reason I even know this happened was because yesterday I was on a long trip and I was scrolling through Instagram and ended up seeing on Neighborhood Talk, which if you're not familiar is one of the black blogs, this headline. Y'all here for it? Tiffany New York Pollard says she identifies as non-binary. Quote, some days I might feel a little bit more masculine and some days I'm super feminine, and that's okay. So then I watched the clip that was attached, and then I went to the actual source clip, and the source clip is by Pink News, which if you're not familiar, Pink News is one of the most trash LGBT sites you can ever go to in your life, because they're always pushing gender identity. So of course they're gonna make things sound different than they are. But let's go on with Tiffany for now.
Because I feel like we are so dual without even recognizing it.
And that's why I don't think non-binary needs to be a thing. That is the exact reason, because every male has a little bit of feminine and every female has a little bit of masculine. That's the way our bodies are designed. Every male produces estrogen, some more than others, and every female produces testosterone, some more than others. So I'm not giving you credit or acting like you're a part of a particular community, because your body functions like it's supposed to function and your brain functions like it's supposed to function too. So for you to feel like now you are part of some community because your brain works the way everybody else's brain works is not valid to me. And nobody can force me to think that this is some kind of groundbreaking moment.
Because it takes two sexes for us to get here. So some days, you know, I may feel a lot more masculine, and then some days I'm super feminine.
That goes for everybody. So what exactly are we doing here? Why does the LGBTQ community not understand that this does more to take away from what it is we were trying to get across as gay and lesbian than it does to actually help? I know that for the trans cause, I guess it's helpful because it makes it seem like everybody's slightly confused. But I don't really think Tiffany Pollard is confused about anything. I think Tiffany Pollard knows she has a show she has to promote, so she has to get in the headlines in some way. And so she said something that was going to not only appeal to a particular part of her fan base, because she is big with the gays, always has been. Not me particularly, even though I do find her entertaining and I do like some of the memes that have been made from her or some of the clips that I've seen. She's really good at being sassy. She comes up with some great one-liners. But as far as me feeling like she's some sort of icon, because I did see a lot of confused LGBT people in the Pink News comments, which is always the way it's going to be in the Pink News comments. But there were a lot of confused young LGBT there that were like, she's my hero, she's an icon, she's the moment. And it's like, can you all stop being so easy? I get that a lot of these people didn't have parents growing up. But for me, a gay man that had two parents in the home the entire time I was growing up, I cannot relate to wanting to look at any celebrity as my parent or in any way as some sort of parental figure. It doesn't make sense to me. But I guess when you're confused and you're looking for something to latch on to, and then a person like Tiffany Pollard comes along to exploit that, you're anxious to have it happen because you're looking for absolutely anybody to tell you that you're okay and that what you are is okay. And if you're non-binary, I'm here to tell you that what you are is not a real thing.
And that's okay. So, I mean, the first time I've ever really kissed a girl, I think it was in like junior high.
And this is how I know she's full of shit and doesn't know what she's talking about, because here she's obviously confusing bisexuality with non-binary. They're not the same thing. One is an actual thing, bisexuality. Non-binary, I already told you guys how I feel about that. But even if you bought non-binary as an actual thing, non-binary would be not identifying as male or female, thinking you're somewhere in between, sort of a third sex type of situation, where bisexuality is being attracted to both men and women.
And I knew, and that was fine. It felt good. It felt right. It has to happen at some point.
What has to happen at some point? Because not every straight man eventually kisses a man, and not every straight woman eventually kisses a girl. So what exactly are you saying has to happen at some point? And I saw some people saying this, which I found entertaining in the comments, but also extremely accurate, that Tiffany Pollard just kind of will talk and rattle on until she comes to some sort of point, but then we'll slip back into chaos again. And nothing describes New York better.
You're going to come out of that closet. And once you do, it's like, okay, wow, this world is open to me in new ways. And sweetie, shoving me back in the closet is never going to be an option.
My real problem is you didn't come out of the closet on anything. This all adds up to nothing. I don't even know what we're talking about, to tell you the truth. Like, what closet do you think you came out of? What groundbreaking statement do you think you made? Actually, if you ask me, if we were really worried about cultural appropriation, which I'm really not, but if you do buy into the idea of cultural appropriation, there are a lot of straight people appropriating gay culture right now by identifying as non-binary or by identifying as bisexual because maybe they did kiss a girl in the 9th grade, but since then have done nothing to update their certification in the LGBT community. Just one time you had a moment or a funny feeling, and now for the rest of your life, you identify as part of the LGBT community. And not because that's really what you feel, not because that's really what you are, but only because it allows you to check another box on diversity. It allows you to compete in a different category of the Oppression Olympics. But really, all of this means nothing.
And I have to say it, I'm not able to not say anything.
I feel like if I didn't have such a strong connection with the queer fan base that I have, I don't know if I would still be in the game as prevalent as I am.
Okay, I don't really like the use of the word prevalent right there, but we're just gonna bypass that because Tiffany Pollard speaks in ghetto speak. I know she thinks she's extremely classy and sophisticated, but if I took her seriously when it came to listening to her talk, I would probably just have a constant headache and at some point have a stroke. So I don't really pay attention to her on that level. But what she's saying right here really does tell you why she's doing what she's doing, and specifically saying what she's saying. She does have a fan base within the queer community. Like I said, there's just a lot of confused people, because I do see a lot of people posting things in the comments like, she's one of us. Like, they're treating this like it's some sort of victory. And so for you to think that a nothing burger like this is a win in any way for you personally or your community really tells me how much you rely on the outside world for validation, and how much you're hoping that maybe one day somebody that you consider important, and by consider important has just been on reality television, because that's been most of what she's done, is reality TV. It's just kind of like she started off on Flavor of Love, and then it was just from one reality show to the next. There were several spin-offs from Flavor of Love, and for a minute she had her own. It was called I Love New York, but I don't really think there's anything particularly iconic about Tiffany Pollard. And I don't know why some people in the LGBT community would think that this is such a big deal, other than, like I said, they don't really have anything going outside of that in their regular lives.
I mean, they keep the HBIC alive. I love to hear my recited.
They were old maiden type of shoes.
Well, I mean, look at me. Am I not a drag queen?
No, you're definitely not. A drag queen is a man that dresses as a woman. She is not a drag queen, just like a drag queen is not a woman.
Is that near Norwegian?
And I mean that in all seriousness. I was really bullied a lot, especially coming up as a kid. And I feel like the gays understand that and accept it and see me and a lot of them and vice versa. And then also to do a show like this and to be involved, it was just like, sign me up. So I'm just grateful that I have the connection that I do with my queer fan base.
She's hitting all the notes she needs to hit in order to make these young, confused LGBT cream their little chonies, because somebody relates to me. Somebody feels me. I have no doubt that she was bullied on some level. I'm not questioning that part of the story, but I do think it's pandering when you go to the LGBT community, or more specifically the queer community, and you want to relate to them because you were bullied too. So you understand what it's like to be LGBT, or you've gone through similar experiences. And I guess that's why I thought it was important to make this video. That's obviously the end of the clip right there. But the reason I thought it was important to make this video is because I'm tired of people just identifying into the community, and the community being so willing to accept it because the community is so desperate for outside validation. And I do think there's something wrong with celebrities identifying into the community, even if they're not really a part of it. And I know there's probably some people that would say that we as gays should be happy that people are that open to wanting to normalize what it is we are, that they'll actually go out on a limb and claim to be part of it. I'm not that kind of gay. I'm not looking for outside validation all the time, so I can't relate. And for me, it's just as insulting as if somebody were to put on being Latino in order to make me feel more normal as a Latino. Like, what makes you think that I don't feel as normal as I need to feel already? What makes you think that I need a F-list celebrity? And again, not being rude, but Tiffany Pollard is definitely an F-list celebrity, to say that they're in some way related to a community that I don't necessarily identify with, but am somehow still considered to be a part of just by the nature of what I am. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And you guys can let me know how you feel about it, but that's just where I'm at on it. Chime in the comments. Other than that, thank you for watching. As always, this has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.